Alright guys, back here with another video. So, before we get into anything, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. And with that being said, let's get right into it. So, and I think this is one of the biggest red flags that's never really talked about. And I think that this is one of the deliberate reasons why guys, and some guys, have to learn game. Is because in relationships, women get bored. And I think it's one of the biggest red flags that like no one talks about. Like no one ever talks about this specifically, right? And I think that it's one of the biggest red flags that you should look out for is when a woman gets bored. Now I think that the easier situations are when you can spot this very early, or if a woman even tells you, right? Now everyone is different, so every situation is not exactly the same. So a woman can tell you that, yeah, I get bored, and certain situations make me bored, and certain situations and certain guys I just get bored of. And when women talk like this, it kind of makes them sound like they devoured men, right? Like, oh, I got bored of him, threw him out, right? And it puts you in this place where it's like, oh shit, and it kind of makes you, or some guys it would make them anxious, but for the most part it definitely makes you alert. It's like, damn. And you know, the first instinct that guys go to is, I have to make sure I'm exciting, I have to make sure that I'm fun, I have to make sure that she doesn't get bored of me. And if any guy has a little bit of game, the very least thing that he can do is not text her back right away, or give her a few hours and a few days before he texts her back. But a lot of guys tend to do that wrong, because the big problem with that is, if you take too long to text back a girl, at some point it looks deliberate, right? You can always be but so busy. And then two, you actually can't get to know a girl if you're taking way too long to text her back. Because at some point there needs to be a consistent back and forth. There needs to be a level of good rapport. You actually need to try to hang out with this person. You actually need to try to see this person. So ignoring somebody for a long amount of hours, when just so you don't come off as bored, sometimes that could be counterproductive a lot of the times when it comes to women in certain situations like this, right? And but I think that the best thing is when women can tell you that they get bored. Because when on the onset of talking to a woman and they tell you that they get bored easily, versus a woman that will be in a full-blown relationship with you and then they get bored, those are the worst situations. And those are the worst type of situations. Why? Because when certain individual women get bored, they cheat. And a lot of the reasons why guys find themselves in this situation is, guys don't really understand relationship dynamics. Most men don't understand relationship dynamics, right? This is not a course that most men ever go through, but if you do want to go through, hit the link below and take the relationship dynamic course. Anyway, but most men never are really taught this. Women have a little bit of a better understanding of relationships, how it goes for women, because women are getting caught up in this stuff at a very young age. Women love these kind of topics. Women love, like, topics that are really not super important, right? Like gossip. And just women are more inclined towards it naturally. Women love this stuff naturally. And from a very young age, women are talking about romance. Women have these ideals for romance. Women have these ideals for marriage. So anything in or around that, they watch. And then, watching TV shows, a lot of their favorite artists, a lot of their favorite movie stars, they get involved in their life, and a lot of it surrounds, relationships. Women have, they can navigate through a relationship a lot better than men can do, but in favor for them. So a lot of the times when men are in these relationships, they really don't understand relationship dynamics. And a lot of men don't understand what it means to implement anxiety. A lot of men don't understand what it means to game their wife. A lot of men don't understand what it means to, have the type of game to make their wife love them more. And as I said it before, having game and playing games are two different things. And I've said it so much at this point, you guys should be able to say it with me. You would ask yourself, in a lot of situations where these women will cheat, and we can even play a clip.
I cheated a lot of times, so you know.
I'm glad you admitted that.
So you're
Absolutely,
a cheater.
I am a cheater.
Because people act like they fucking never did nothing in their life.
Oh no, I'm gonna tell the truth. I cheat.
You do cheat. Why do you cheat?
You better get married.
Because to me,
somebody like, nigga, I love her.
Ask me again.
why? What are the circumstances that make you feel like I'm about to cheat?
When I feel like he gets bored.
When you feel like you're bored, or you feel like he's bored?
I'm bored. No, I'm human. Like if I'm not happy, I know somebody gonna say, well, if you're not happy, why you stay? Bitch.
It's complicated.
Sometimes it's complicated. Sometimes I need a nigga to keep paying my bills.
It's complicated. It's complicated.
So as you can see, and when the girl asked her, and this girl was very proud to answer these questions. As you can see, when she asked her, she said, what circumstances make you want to cheat? She said, when she gets bored. And this is, if you remember the clip that I played with Kevin Samuels, and he was basically saying that a man who's cheating on his woman has a woman that is involved, right? Has a woman that's super involved, because even if a woman's not a cheater, but she finds herself getting bored in relationships, this is a woman that's super involved. Why? Because if you're in a relationship and you're doing all these things, sex is great, to some extent you're providing, you're a good person, but she understands that other women want you. So this level of competition anxiety. What is competition anxiety? Competition anxiety is the threat of your woman losing you through competition of other women. Now this can be very small, it can be very minor. It can be a female friend, it can be co-workers, or it can be a straight-on threat of you cheating. Now I don't always advise cheating, but this is why you see toxic men who do cheat have a very involved woman. And like she said, sometimes things get a little complicated. He's paying her bills. So what if he's paying her bills? Because when she was asked, why didn't she leave? And that's a great question. Why do some women not leave, rather just cheat? Well, the number one reason, and this is why we filter women out, she's a low quality female, right? A high quality female, if she realizes she's getting bored, she's going to separate herself, she's going to take a break, or she's going to leave. I know in a marriage this is a little more complicated, but aside from her being a low quality female, what are some of the reasons why a woman wouldn't leave? Obviously, a guy paying her bills. Sometimes people have kids together. And sometimes she could just be a low quality female and believe that it's okay for her to get revenge rather just leaving the entire relationship. So you would see why certain women are in these type of situations. Are the guy may be so naive that she can cheat and have her bills paid and still live a certain type of lifestyle that she would be considered to be great, and then she's still doing whatever she has to do. So that's why some women wouldn't leave, and obviously these are low quality females, right, to begin with. But some guys don't do a great job at filtering women out, so then you understand why. If you're cheating, of course, she's going to be super involved. There's this level of competition anxiety, separation anxiety. If you're subscribed to Patreon, then you would understand how to implement these different levels of anxiety. Now, you don't necessarily have to cheat, but you can do things that may give her the same type of effect. Aside from that, you have to understand, aside from all of that, that some women are just used to traumatic situations. Some women come from situations where they have trauma bonded with a person so much that in this situation, and they've been in this situation for so long, or they had a multitude of situations where it's so drastic and it's so dramatic that they have trauma bonded with people, and they've gotten accustomed to this type of toxic lifestyle when it came to relationships. Now, some women can adjust, and sometimes it can work. Sometimes you can have a woman that's used to arguing and yelling and cursing, and you can say, you know what, I'm not going to fight with you. I'm going to give you your space. You're not going to talk to me disrespectfully, and I'm not going to talk to you disrespectfully. I'm not going to stoop to that level because I'm a better person than that. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give you your space. I'll speak to you later. I'm going to separate myself. Now, a lot of times in these situations where a guy can handle a situation maturely like that, and he says, you know what, I'm going to separate myself from this situation, and he walks away, this is great because one is displaying that I'm not going to fight and argue with you. And when you get into this space and get into this mode where you can't talk and we can't communicate like mature adults, I'm separating myself. So the more you behave like this, the more that's going to push me away. Now, you're not exactly pushing away, you're taking healthy space so she can calm down. But the thing that they're expecting to go back and forth. They're expecting to argue. They're expecting to yell and do all these things that they're used to in a toxic relationship. But when you do that, not only are you putting her in a place, you're letting her know that you're not going to stoop to her level. You're letting her know that you have a different level of maturity and you have a different level of clarity. And you can see through the false attempts to get you into an argument. And it's kind of weird because sometimes with these type of situations, it does turn a woman on, right? Some woman will sit there and fight and argue with you and then try to make love to you after. I remember with my ex, this was something. We had got into a really bad fight. It was probably the worst fight we ever got into. And after, like, she was like, let me suck your dick. I'm like, what the fuck? No. I mean, I let her. I let her, of course. But, you know, these type of situations are not healthy. Because then you train them to think that this is okay and we're going to continue doing this. And at some point, you have to break that cycle. Right? So what you have to understand, even before you, some women are just in such traumatic situations and they have trauma bonded, and this is how they identify when it comes to making love, and this is how they identify when it comes to love in general. So a lot of times you have to learn to separate yourself from this and understand that this isn't healthy and this is not something that you want. And some of these situations and people can be fixed. Some of them can be changed, but this is an extremely red flag, right? And I say that out of 10, this takes away 3 points. So she almost has one more thing to go. And this is not a woman that you should be wifing. But anyway, guys, like and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you subscribe to Patreon for more exclusive content like this, and especially learning the different types of anxiety and understanding how to navigate through your relationship. And if you're new to this, make sure you take the relationship course. I'll link it below, and you guys can do that. Anyway, guys, I'm out of here.